Let's move on now to those extraordinary scenes in the Senate yesterday when Michaelia Cash gave Penny Wong an almighty spray in defence of Jacinta Nampijinpa Price after the senator spoke out about Welcome to Country ceremonies. This is how it went down.
I am absolutely done with the virtue signalling that takes place. I am of the belief that it is not necessary to have an acknowledgement because we are all Australians.
Decency and respect cost us nothing, but it goes a long way to building a sense of unity. I would hope that it would be that the opposition would reflect on the words of their own leader in relation to welcomes to country.
I will stand by and respect Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, who every day has lived and breathed reconciliation in this country. Her father is white, her mother is black. So please, don't ever come into this place again and pontificate to us.
And Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, the Shadow Minister for Defence Industry, joins me now from Darwin. Senator, really appreciate your time. Look, that was a real impassioned defence yesterday by your colleague. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I was blown away. I just felt very honoured that our leader in the Senate is someone who is of conviction and who would stand up in such a situation. I think that Michaelia, I mean, we've all sat there and listened to Senator Wong and her pontification over and over. I mean, she talks about decency and respect, but does not really afford that decency or respect to Indigenous people if we're conservative. And she just thinks that Indigenous people, or as she calls us, First Nations people, should be viewed through the lens of leftist ideologues. And so, look, I'm very grateful to have a leader such as Michaelia who stood up so passionately in my defence. I was very heartened.
Well, I mean, I guess it represents a bigger narrative, and you made those brilliant comments yesterday in the Senate. And I will say that Michaelia Cash also made a good point about this again today. She said that it is the left who keep pushing this Welcome to Country narrative. This is what she said.
The virtue signalling needs to end. The left need to understand a person who holds an opinion that is different to theirs, and in particular, someone like Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, who, yes, she does, have strongly held views about the acknowledgement and the Welcome to Country issue. Those views are based on lived experience each day. Her view is as valid as anybody else. Labor and the Greens now run Australia. But that does not mean that the quiet Australians' views cannot be represented in a respectful manner.
I mean, is she right? Because it just seems like every time this debate is talked about, you get labelled a racist, you get labelled a bigot, and the left keep pushing this agenda.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, just as Senator Hanson pointed out, we held a referendum. 60% of Australians don't want this racial division. We're being accused of being racially divisive, but the minute you put one group of people on a pedestal or treat them differently to everybody else, that there is exactly what division is. And viewing a group of people on racial heritage in a particular way and treating us in that way is what I would regard as racist. There are many Aboriginal people of Aboriginal descent in this country who are amongst the quiet Australians and are also very over the virtue signalling. It's patronising to many of us. That it still continues. I mean, seriously, I could be in a room full of people and there's all these acknowledgements. Well, what are you really acknowledging? I might be the only person of Indigenous heritage in that room, but what does that really mean? It does nothing. Again, it does nothing, but all it does is signal, well, I'm one of these leftist allies, if you like. I'm a good little person that toes the line of an industry that we know that makes a hell of a lot of money out of the misery of the backs of those who are largely out of sight, out of mind, and who couldn't give a damn about any acknowledgements or welcome to country or those sorts of things. And it's a reinvention. It's a reinvention. It's not traditional culture, which disregards real culture, traditional culture. And that's the part that I think is most disrespectful, that it's a complete reinvention, but it's being palmed off as something that is all, wonderful and part of culture, but there's always a price tag quite often involved in that. Let me ask you, we weren't taking money for any kind of cultural activity before there was settlement in this country.
Well, I just think you're spot on. And even I noticed all the new Labor MPs, when they were making their maiden speeches in Parliament, every single one of them got up and the first thing that they did was an acknowledgement of country. And you've got to wonder, why are you doing it? Do they even know why that they were doing it? I agree with you. I think it's so trivialised. I want to ask you, Susan Lee says that acknowledgements have a time and a place and that she would still stand in front of the Aboriginal flag. Does your sentiment and that of Senator Cash now put you both at odds with the leader of the party?
Yeah, look, I mean, for me personally, I've always stated that I view myself as an Australian. I don't differentiate between my mother and my father. I don't like the fact that at the opening of Parliament, we've got running at the front of Parliament the Indigenous flag, the Torres Strait Island flag and the Australian flag. I just think on a global scale, we look confused as a country. Are we three groups of people? Are we one person? Are we one people in this country? And, we are so diminished in our country. I mean, speaking to my defence personnel portfolio, we can't recruit enough people into our defence, and we can't do that because Australians are told to feel ashamed of who we are because of our country's history. So, how are we supposed to grow our defence industry, our personnel, to defend our country in the event, if we're ever to be attacked by an adversary? I tell you what, all this welcome to country nonsense means absolutely nothing. All these acknowledgements to country means nothing. For those who would seek to do us harm, they wouldn't care less about any of that. But we are so confused as a country that we wouldn't be able to pull together to defend our nation. And that is of deep concern.
Yeah, and that is the real frightening part about all of this. I just want to ask you quickly about defence. The UK and Australia have deepened the AUKUS submarine pact with a 50-year treaty signed today. Senator, what's your understanding of what this means for Australia, but also at a time, of course, when the US is reviewing the agreement?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's all well and good that this is occurring. It's a good step in a direction toward ensuring that we secure AUKUS, certainly with the UK. But again, our Prime Minister has failed to have a face-to-face meeting with one of the world's largest global leaders. And as a result, we still don't know exactly what our alliance looks like with the US at the moment, a long-standing alliance. Our experts are telling us that we should be working closely, being proactive with the US, that we should be issuing a new direction statement, signalling to the US that it would be wonderful for them to be here to strengthen our alliance, to strengthen AUKUS, to strengthen their presence in Northern Australia with our northern bases, particularly during these geopolitical circumstances that we're faced with. I mean, I don't know what the Prime Minister is doing, why he keeps dropping this ball, but in terms of our strategic partnership with the US, it is well overdue and it's required yesterday. Not today, not even tomorrow. It's required immediately. That's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, good to catch up. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.